Hey, Netroots Nation! Netroots! Netroots in the house! Man, you got me guys feeling good. You know, congratulations on 11 years we've been doing this. 11 years, that's worth an applause right there. And I also want you to put your hands together for the 800 first-time Netroots Nation attendees. There's no question about it. The power is in your hands. The power is in our hands. The progressive left is ascendant in this country. We are shaping the agenda. We are setting the pace. And the only thing that's going to stop that is if we decide to slow down and let up. It is time to understand the moment that we are in and to press it. Press it. The fact is, if $15 in a union is a thing, it's because you helped to make it a thing. If debt-free college is in the center of the conversation as opposed to on the margin, it's because you made it a thing. And I just want to say, if racial justice is an issue in this presidential campaign, it was because last year, actually at Netroots Nation in Phoenix, Black Lives Matter people took the stage and demanded that the issue be focused on. That happened here. That happened here. And as a direct result of it, you established that we would come to St. Louis in solidarity with the people in Ferguson. Is that right? And so right now, demonstrators, protesters are out there addressing this appalling condition of police violence. But the fact is that in this room and in this institution known as Netroots Nation, we are in solidarity with the quest for racial justice, police accountability, and a real justice in this country. You know, I just want to say to you that I'm the co-chair of something called the Progressive Caucus in Congress. I mention that because I want to just be very clear that we do not believe that it is the politicians who run things. We know that power comes from the people. Power comes from the grassroots. Power comes from the netroots. And you know that if you guys are demanding change in this country, if you are demanding it, we want you to know that there are at least 72 people in the United States House of Representatives who are listening and who are responsive and who want to be in partnership with you. We want you to know that the only limitation is our imagination. And we want to let the creativity flow and build a strong, durable partnership that does not break so that we can help execute your dreams, your hopes, and your aspirations for this land that we live in. So we want to work closely with you because we want you to also know that, you know what, it was not Lyndon Johnson or the United States Congress who inspired Martin Luther King. It was the other way around. We know that. It was not the movement that took inspiration or asked the politicians what to do, but the other way around. The politicians do what the people say. And so if you are out the front and you are demanding change, we need to be there to listen to that. Now today we want to just say criminal justice reform is an issue that absolutely is imperative and has to happen. The movement has demanded it, and I'm telling you that the politicians have to be responsive to it. I want you to know that just on Thursday, I had the privilege to stand in the presence of the family of Philando Castile. He was killed in my town of Minneapolis, St. Paul, because he was pulled over because of the officer said his wide-set nose matched a suspect. In other words, he was suspected of being suspicious. His girlfriend, Diamond, as you all saw, calmly turned on her live stream Facebook and taped that encounter and showed it to the world. And she sat there narrating in real time the shooting of her boyfriend as her 4-year-old daughter was trying to comfort her. "It's okay, mommy." That's what that baby said to her. Today would have been Philando's 33rd birthday. Today would have been a day when he would have reflected upon his young life, but recognized that he's now a young man. And he would have been able to say to his mother and everybody in his community, you know what? I am someone who is a supervisor in a school lunch program. I make sure that the children at this school get good nutrition every single day. And some of them who don't have enough food to eat, I sneak them some because you know what? I know for poor families, the weekends can be very, very tough. You know what I'm saying? Philando was there for the community that he came from, and we have to be there for his memory to make sure there's no more Philandos, that the police do not shoot down people like him. Now, the fact is, it's not a new thing for black men or women to be pulled over and arrested and even shot. As a matter of fact, African-American men are about 6% of the population of the United States, and we represent almost half of the people who get shot and killed by the police. But I want to say something to my white brothers and sisters. The actual numerical majority of people who get shot and killed by the police are white. I don't know if y'all know that. This ain't just our problem. This ain't just our problem. This is a national problem. And everybody better focus in on this problem. Don't tell me you're my ally. Tell me you're my partner. Don't tell me you're down with me. Tell me you're down. We're locked arm in arm together. And I want to tell you that I'm very proud of the solidarity that I saw assembled on Governor Dayton's lawn the other day when people went to the governor's mansion to protest what happened to Philando. And I want to tell you that, yes, it's true, the strong core of African Americans were there, Latinos were there, Asian Americans were there, the Hmong community was there, the Native American community was there, the gay community was there, the straight folks was there, the whole of humanity was there, united around the simple idea that you should not get shot just for being a black man in America. It is very important that we hang together on this. It is very key, but we've also got more work to do because you and I, we are activists. We are the leaders. We cannot just say, ain't that a shame, and be angry. We got to come up with solutions. And that's why I want to tell you that activism that you have fought for and created, we have been able to inject into the Democratic platform, which calls for demilitarizing the police, closing private prisons, ending racial profiling, banning the box so you can get a job after you get out, requiring body cameras, and abolishing the death penalty. Also, we say, look, time for the states to decide how they want to deal with marijuana policy. We cannot be a federal drug offense to deal with marijuana. This is a state issue. Let the states like Colorado, Washington State, or even Missouri decide how they want to move forward on this. Let's end the war in California. Let's end the war on drugs. Let's end it and stop it now. And also restore the vote to those who have served their sentences. Let's let people come back to citizenship and not second-class citizenship. But the Democratic Platform Committee didn't just wake up one morning and decide to put those things in there. You made them put them in there. And make no mistake about it, your activism, it is what driving this moment. That's my whole point. Your activism is driving this moment, and your activism will drive the next moment, the next year. If what you did in Phoenix at Netroots Nation last year helped create the climate in this presidential campaign, you will set the tone for the next year as well. And so plan for it, decide for it, make up your mind to do it, and it will be done. An example might be debt-free college. Anybody here got student debt that they're quite sick of? There's now more than $1 trillion in student loan debt. 2/3 of it, seniors graduate with more than $26,000 in loans. Who hurts the most? Low-income students and students of color. But they're not the only ones who hurt. The whole country is hurting because of this. And so let's get together and fight this fight. Debt-free movement started as a dream pushed by the progressive community, and the Progressive Caucus responded, leading resolutions with 100 members calling for a debt-free college. And we're not going to stop fighting because we know you're not going to stop. In just a few years, presidential candidates are now debating how they're going to make sure that college is more affordable for everyone. And last week, Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders together unveiled a joint plan to make public colleges and universities tuition-free for more than 80% of Americans. Now, let me just say, there's a lot at stake here. There's a whole lot at stake and a whole lot of things that I haven't even mentioned, but I just want to say this to you. It is critically important that you take your leadership and your influence and you go out to the grassroots and the communities that you represent and you tell the people that cynicism and thinking that nothing could change no matter what we do is lame and is not true. You've got to tell them that if you will demonstrate, if you will protest, if you will put pressure on your policymakers, if you will run for office, we can change the rules and this country can be better than it was in the past. But it's got to be those unreasonable people who will not take no for an answer who are going to make the change. In the year coming up, we have to fight and kill the Trans-Pacific Partnership. In the year coming up, we have to make college affordability a top frame issue. In the year coming up, we got to have $15 everywhere in the country. In the year coming up, we got to fight for the right to collectively bargain and make the union movement on the rise again. And in the year coming up, we have got to do something very powerful and meaningful about voter turnout. I want to say this to you as I wrap up. When Mike Brown was shot down and killed right here in St. Louis area, in the previous election, only 12% of the people eligible to vote voted. But don't judge, because in the last election, 2014, only 36% of the people who are eligible to vote voted. The right wing is not so much beating us as we're not getting our vote out. Yes, they're suppressing the vote. Yes, they're pushing photo ID. Yes, they're trying to stop us from voting all over the place. That's why you got to tell some of these folks who say, I don't know if voting is important enough. You got to say, you may not think it's important, but the Koch brothers sure do. That's why they putting a lot of time and money to stopping you from voting. That's why they're working so hard to keep you from voting. If your enemy is working day and night to stop you from doing something, maybe you ought to go do it. I think so. But it's important for you to understand that voting is not a be-all and it's not an end-all. It is one tactic among many. It's like a demonstration. It's like a petition. It is like a lot of tactics that all of us will use to make the ball go forward for human dignity. But we cannot leave money on the table and only have 1/3 of the people who can vote. Now, me and a lot of you and many others went back to Ferguson and worked on increasing voter turnout, and in the last election got it up to about 30%. And with 30%, we went from one black person on that council to half. Now, there's not a nirvana for African Americans in Ferguson, but it's better than it was. And if we keep up the fight, we can make it a great, wonderful place where equality for all prevails. You just got to believe it if you want to achieve it. You got to fight for it, and you got to see it, and you got to make sure that it happens. Now, let me wrap up just by saying this. Well, it's not like this campaign is happening in a vacuum. I want you to actually think about what a Trump presidency might represent. Seriously. I know you're thinking, you think what I think. Don't vote your fears, vote your hopes and aspirations. Yeah, but if somebody would have told you that George W. Bush is going to start 2 wars that are going to result in massive loss of life, that is going to cut the taxes for the richest people and drive up massive deficits, destroy the nation's credibility, You may not have believed all the damage that happened during the Bush presidency unless you lived to see it. I'm telling you that Donald Trump is not George W. Bush, nor is he Bob Dole. This guy openly says that a certain religious group will not be allowed to come into our country. This guy openly says the most sexist, viable, misogynistic things that you can imagine. This guy openly makes fun of people with disabilities. He said that the minimum wage was too high. He says he's against trade deals, but his ugly ties, he gets them from Bangladesh and China. I'm telling you, this is not a small thing. This man is a clear, present danger to the nation. And if that's not enough to persuade you, please bear in mind, he is the favorite candidate of the Ku Klux Klan. And I'm not even joking. That's a true fact. They have endorsed him. Anybody who is the favorite of the Klan can never be my favorite. I don't know about you. Now, if that wasn't bad enough, he goes and gets Mike Pence. Mike Pence is obsessed with our LGBT brothers and sisters. He never misses a trick to try to throw hate on them. Why is Mike Pence so worried about what people do in the privacy of their own homes? I don't know. But he passes legislation to try to harm them all the time. And so you got one guy, open bigot, religious bigot, hater, and then you got the other one who's a bigot and hates gay people so much. This is the bigot ticket, y'all. And I'm telling you, and if anybody is going to stand up to the bullies, the real bigots, I know that it's you. I know that you ain't going to be weak-kneed and hand-wringing and worry about who's going to judge you if you stand up to the real bullies, because you don't stand up in front of the cops and say, hands up, don't shoot, when they're aiming guns at you if you don't have any guts and any courage and any determination. You don't stand up strong like that without heart. You understand what I mean? I know who the brave ones are, and I'm looking at them right now. That's you. And you got to stand up right now. Now, let me just say this. An election is an occasion. It's not the end of anything. It's the beginning of something. And I don't care what president we've ever seen. Pick one. None of them make any good alone. It's always about the movement. And if you will stay awake and alive and active, and you will hold all your elected leaders accountable, including me, then we will see justice in this land. But it's about us. How many people felt like after Obama got in there, we said, yes, we can. Then he got in there, we said, yes, he can. No. We're going to go back to the we. Who's for we? Who's for us? That's where I'm talking about. So bless you guys, and I can't wait to work with every single one of you. The Progressive Caucus and I are your dedicated, loyal partners in making America a country that all of us can be part of and all of us can be included in. Now, let me say this. I was an early supporter of Bernie Sanders, and I'm still burning, y'all. Don't doubt that. But as you know, earlier this week, Bernie insisted on influencing the platform and insisted on making sure we get the debt-free tuition and insisted on principles. And after he got those principles and agreement on what really matters, which is principles, he did endorse Hillary Clinton. Now, I have also endorsed Hillary Clinton, and so has the Progressive Caucus. And now, I'd like to introduce a special Netroots Nation video and a message from our next president, Hillary Clinton. Thank you very much.